we talked a little bit about mini test and RSpec, and one of the things I brought up is that RSpec helps me to, or it seems better for me to talk to non-technical people with. But what about Cucumber? The whole point of Cucumber was being able to bridge that gap between programmerese and non-technical talk. And I used Cucumber for a long time. Have you ever used it?
Yeah, and I would say it's probably the worst thing I've ever done.
Or why?
So I was using it with my own product that I've developed, and it just added another unnecessary layer because I wasn't communicating to anyone, hey, this is what it's going to do. I mean, to me, just, I just have to write the, RSpec is sufficient, to do the testing. And that's
Right.
just adds another layer onto it. I would think you'd have to be, and here's the thing, I would think you'd have to be pretty, at least this is my take on it right now. You'd have to be a pretty large organization to want to implement that with a lot of different layers. And maybe you need to communicate approvals to say, hey, this is the code that's going to be built, or, something like that. Like if multiple people need to get an approval before it goes for coding, for example, I could see a benefit of that. But because of how fast development can happen now, I would, if you're not a huge organization, I would be more inclined to just work more closely with the stakeholders. Say, all right, what do you want built? And you wanted to kind of do that. I would just get the rough documents even in just notes jotted down to get an understanding, and then go and, build it, and then show them, hey, is this what you're looking for? Because the turnaround, if you can do the turnaround fast with that, then there's no need to have this extra layer.
Right. And I think that was a big problem I had with it, because even like you're talking about in a lone wolf scenario, it brings no benefit because you don't have anybody you need to communicate that with, which is, and a lot of your programming is more lone wolf type programming, just from the nature of your.
So yeah, for the product development side, the consulting that I do, of course, I work with stakeholders and whatnot.
Right. But when you're sitting down coding
for my own product, it serves no purpose.
Yeah. What I have found, because most of my career has been more based on team programming environments, and I've been a team lead and a lead developer, and having to deal with non-technical stakeholders and communicate with them. And I thought when I got Cucumber out, not long after it was introduced, so what, 100 years ago, 5 years ago,
and we should probably communicate what Cucumber is for those people who haven't used Ruby.
So basically, Cucumber sits on top of RSpec. I can't remember if it can sit on top of test unit.
Well, essentially, it's a BDD tool. It's a behavioral driven design tool.
So you end up writing your tests look like when this, then this. So you write the test basically in English.
Yeah.
The problem I had with it is that, and I tried to use it for a good 18 months. I ended up spending more time writing the code to support the when this, then this statements that you have to write than I did writing any of the other tests or the code to support them. So then I found out that if I use Cucumber to talk to non-stakeholders and used RSpec to talk to non-stakeholders, there was no difference in the communication success. So why burden myself with all this extra stuff? If Cucumber had just been, hey, you can write this in English and we'll translate it into RSpec code, right? That would have been fantastic. I would have been all over that. But I had to spend way too much time coding cucumber to support my environment. And it just became overbearing. Now, I know there's a lot of, look, cucumber, fantastic idea. It was implemented well, but in practice, it just didn't, I haven't found a scenario where it buys me enough to justify the work. So I know there are a lot of people that use it, and maybe they're finding it useful, and that's fine. But for me, I never found it.
If you like this clip and want to watch another one, you can click right here. Or if you want to watch the full video, you can click here.